Hello. Well, we're back. Look at that. Hello and welcome to today's Living Room live stream. We're so happy to have you back. Thank you so much to everyone who's joining us, for those who are joining us for the live stream, and for those who will be joining us once it's archived. You're always welcome, and we're always happy that you're here. Now, today, here in Oshawa, what's it like? It's a little bit gray, it's a little bit rainy. I've been feeling a little under the weather myself the past couple of days, so I'm going to be I'm going to be doing things very gently today. Gently for myself and hopefully gently for everyone else out there as well. Hey, Patrick, so good to see you again. Welcome back. How are you doing where you are? I'm hoping well, who knows? It might be a little gray where you are too, but I hope if it is that it's a nice kind of gray day. Today for us, it's nice. I've been okay. Thanks for asking. I was just saying I've been under the weather a little bit the last couple of days. Anyone out there who suffers from any kind of chronic pain stuff might get where I'm coming from here. And yeah, it's made me think about self-care. It's made me think about, just being gentle with ourselves, being kind to ourselves and what that actually means. And of course, here in Oshawa, I'd also like to send a lot of love out to anyone who is starting something new, who's feeling a little anxious, who's feeling a little sad, who might be grieving some losses. We've had some difficult things happen in our city in the last couple of weeks. And my heart is with everyone who was touched by that. And hopefully we can come together today, spend some time with one another. Hello, Danny. Thank you. Yes, I'm feeling a bit better, a bit tender, I should say. So I will be taking it slow. But definitely we're sending love out to everyone who needs it. And if you're here and you are needing a little bit of kindness, a little bit of gentleness in your day to help you help you kick off into this week or through the rest of the week, please take what you need. Now, as everyone knows, when you come to the living room, you get our safe space spiel. We're not actually in the studio. Today we're in the virtual studio. But for those of you who might be new to this experience, I want to let you know that this is a time and a place for you to create, to hang out, to do what you need to do. So even though I might be doing some activity or art thingy, if it doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to do it. If you have your own materials on hand that you'd like to make use of, please feel free. And if you just want to have us on in the background while you're working on something else that's perhaps not even art related, you're welcome to do that too. This is a place to connect, to check in with one another, to say hi, to to just share that creative energy in a really positive way. And if you're not having such a positive day, that's okay too. Do what you need to do. Be where you are at. And if you need anything from us, please let us know. Now, safe space rules apply as always. We ask that everyone be supportive of one another, encouraging, kind, respectful, negotiate, consent, all of those fabulous, fabulous things. People are generally super, super nice to everyone else, but what we find is, and I can speak from experience here, that we tend to be super hard on ourselves. So if you are having one of those days and your inner critic is being really loud, let someone know. If you need help talking back to that inner critic and challenging it, just reach out and ask for some help. We can all help you with that. And if your inner critic has nothing positive or constructive to say at all, well, I'll just take it and I'll throw it out my window here. What else can I do? I can delete it. We are online after all, so we can play around with those metaphors too. There's lots of things that we can do together. You don't have to do it all on your own. Hey, Ishu, how are you? Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you. Well, I'm seeing people's little pictures when they come up. So I'm not seeing your faces, but it feels so wonderful to have you here in this space. So again, thank you for joining. Next piece as well, of course, just like at the studio, if folks have been using or drinking, we'll invite you to come back on another day when you haven't been. And there's no judgment here at all. For us, it's important to know that we can communicate with people effectively. It's also important that we can hold space for those folks who might be in recovery or spending some time here for the purposes of harm reduction. We all know how precious that path can be, and I know everyone here wants to support one another on that journey, so I thank you in advance. Hey, Shelley, Nye, wow, holy moly, lots of friendly faces here today. Thank you for hanging out for a little bit. What else? What is it? What's last in our safe space? Oh my goodness, it's been so long since I've been at the studio. It's hard to remember. Last thing, most important thing, if anything, of course I'd forget this part. If anything happens here during this time that makes you feel uncomfortable, makes you feel weird, off, whatever it might be, can you let me know? Please? Yeah? And if you don't feel comfortable kind of like shouting out in the chat, you can always send me a message or an email afterwards. You can even reach out to the folks here in the chat to help you do it, because I'm accountable as well. We're all accountable. And one of the reasons why we're here is so that we can learn how to be more supportive and encouraging of one another, to learn how we can create platforms and opportunities for one another to be our most authentic selves, to express what we need to express without judgment, without fear, to be safe with one another and explore that humaning piece that we might not always get a chance to explore in other environments. Does that make sense? Yeah? Oh, wow. Well, folks, hey, Peter, nice to see you. And Lindsay, too. Thank you for joining me here in our virtual studio today. Now, the other thing I like to ask, as always, if folks are here, if you're making something with us today, let us know what it is. You can share pictures. You can tell us what it is. If you have any questions about what's going on with your creative process that you'd like to put out there into the community, maybe you need some help with something. We've got so many. Hey, Sandra, nice to see you. We've got so many incredibly gifted people here already. There's so many amazing people that I know are in the chat. Now, I might not always know that you're here if you're... I only see folks if they sort of chat. I may not know people are watching if you're not participating in that. And that's okay. You do you. You don't have to chat with people. You can, again, have us on in the background while you're doing your thing. But if there's something you'd like to say, please, shout it out in that chat. If I don't respond right away, just please be patient with me and ask again, and I'll do my best to get back to you as the live stream continues. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what is everyone making out there? I've been feeling... I don't know if my head's been feeling heavy with these migraines. My heart's been feeling a little heavy. And I'm definitely feeling that back to school thing, even though I'm not in school anymore. There's so many mixed up feelings with that, isn't there? So I'm going to start off today by doing a little spiraling, positive spiraling. But let's see. Oh, Nikki. Oh, so nice to see you, Nikki. Thank you for being here. And Sandra. Oh, so okay, we've already had an update. Sandra is not weaving. You are knitting a turban. Knitting a turban for your bald head. Got to keep warm in the winter. You do indeed. Please stay warm. And I can't wait to connect with you in person. You've been on quite a journey, haven't you? And Niall's writing. Yes. Yes. Let's hear it for the writing folks out there. Just because I'm doing visual art stuff today. Yeah, you can do you. Do whatever you like. Yeah. Do whatever you like. You do you, folks. You do you. That's what keeps the world interesting. Now let's see. Now this is something I do whenever I'm feeling a little, I don't know, when I need a little bit of grounding going on. I'm going to do some spirals. I'm going to be spiraling out from the center. One line and just letting it do what it needs to do. Linda Berry style. Oh, let's see, Patrick's... Oh, you're writing a film review for The Dead Ones. Oh, my goodness. A very somber horror drama. I have not heard of that film yet. It's a strange thing with the art of film, being out of touch in the sense that, well, I don't know where you're at, Patrick, but not a whole lot of people going out to movie theaters these days. So we're streaming everything online, which makes for its own unique experience when it comes to new releases. And an interesting time to watch horror films, especially ones that are cerebral, ones that get you thinking. Yeah, it's interesting. I can't wait to see your review on that. And Peter, let's see. Peter saying I had some bad experience this week as well. I feel you, Mary Croner. Well, thank you, Peter. And I'm sorry. It's good to know. It is good to know that those of us experiencing difficult times, that we're not alone. And difficult times shift, they grow. I think that's also something to keep in mind too. They evolve, they change. So the difficult time that I had yesterday is not as difficult today. And I hope it's the same for you, Peter. I hope that you can find that place to let go of what you can let go of, to discover what you can in this moment, and to feel as you shift into a different place, another place, maybe somewhere more positive, maybe somewhere easier, to reach for that relief when it's there. And if the art can be a part of providing that relief, that's fantastic. Now, as I'm spiraling here, I might also introduce some music today, just some background chill out music. We've been experimenting with different kind of things here. So if at one point in time you hear music and you're not playing any, don't worry. It's just me. But for right now, I'm just going to feel this silence. And I'm going to remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. I'm not sure if you can hear it. When I'm drawing my spiral, I can hear my pen on the paper. That in itself could be such a comforting sound. And I can see through my lines where my wellness is at, which is a really interesting process all on its own. I'm going to release a little bit. I had to cancel my live stream interview with B yesterday, which was so sad. I was so looking forward to talking with them. But my body said no. I'm trying my best to listen to my body when it tells me no. I'm trying to listen to when it's saying, hey, 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 slow down a bit. But I can see the shakes and the tremors. From the migraine still wanting to speak as I draw these lines. I don't know if anyone else out there, well, I know people do, I know they must. If you feel the impacts, if you see the changes in your work, or just in your process, and how do you make space for that voice, for that part of you, the physical you that needs to be heard. How do you create gentleness for yourself? Especially if you're the type of person, like me maybe, who sometimes forgets in the rush to be gentle to themselves. I'm great at preaching it, not so good at practicing it, folks. I don't think I'm alone in that either. But I'm learning. And let's see. Alpha, hello Alpha, welcome. And as you're working on a necklace for your sweetheart. Yes, there's a lot of catching up there to do. How is it out there? You're out west. I'm assuming you're still out west. We have so many people joining us from so many interesting places today. Heck, we might even have a cross-country selection of guests today. I'm always surprised by who comes and who visits, who shows up and who participates. Everyone is welcome. And again, if you're just joining the live stream now, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm inviting you to be gentle with yourself today, to enjoy this time, to take care of what needs to be taken care of in yourself. If you'd like to make art, you're more than welcome to make art. And of course, when we talk about art, we are including every possible type of creative expression in that. Not just visual art, not just Eurocentric ideas of what fine art is or fancy pants art, We're talking about anything that you make, that you create, that you express, that helps you feel good or makes you feel better. Things that teach the world about who you are. Remind yourself about who you are. Ah, and Brandon, nice. Welcome, Brandon. Going for walks, find you help. Yep. Find walks help when you're feeling frazzled. I do too. Just that connection to whatever kind of nature you might have around you, even if it's, not so wild. Just feeling the air on your skin. I found myself leaning against a tree the other day. Just really leaning into that tree, putting my head on that tree. It was a big tree. It's hundreds of years old, I imagine. It's the oldest tree in our neighborhood, by the looks of it anyways. And yes, I think people probably thought I was a little odd. It wasn't a tree on my property. But when in doubt, hug a tree. Something very grounding. Something I find incredibly moving about letting myself be held by something so ancient, something so, dare I say, wise? Are trees wise? Can we talk about trees in that way in this day and age? And that looks a little bit like a tree, actually. My little spiral here. Yeah. So, shall I put that aside or shall I paint it? Alpha, it's nice to see you here too. What are you making? What kind of art are you making, Alpha? One of our fabulous students who was with us last term now graduated. Congratulations. How does that feel? And for any other students who are watching and listening, recent grads, congratulations. Some of you might even be going back to school this fall. Congratulations on that as well. I hope that things are okay I think so many things are online these days and making sense of all of that can be difficult. Oh, Courtney. Hello, Courtney. If that is a quote, that is a quote. When in doubt, hug a tree. Yes, someone can make a sticker for that if we like. And Courtney, thank you. I'm feeling a little bit better, but I'm still trying to take care of myself today. I even have a pair of sunglasses here. For those of you who suffer from migraines, sometimes light can trigger weird and wonderful things. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. And if you see me putting on sunglasses, it could be because I'm cool, but no, it's not really. It's just me taking care of my head a little bit. But for now, I'm okay. For now, I'm okay. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with this spiral, though, my little tree trunk spiral, and give it some color. I did some videos for Durham College for their orientation week, and we tried to use materials that are easy to find and affordable to find for students who may not have a whole lot of money or not enough money maybe to go to some of the larger art stores. So everything was sourced from the dollar store. And while I'm not hugely in love with, supporting chains of that nature, I think it's important to remember that for some of us out there, we don't necessarily have the privilege of sourcing art materials from, that might be more expensive. And I did find a couple of tools there that were really kind of cool. So you don't need fancy supplies. You don't need expensive supplies to begin to create, to explore. Another reason why I love working with upcycled or found objects as well. Non-traditional art supplies can sometimes provide so much inspiration. And Alpha, yes. Oh, you find it very calming. Well, thank you very much to watch. That's part of the hope today. Yeah, and a graduate. All the students, so exciting. know things must be interesting if you're heading back to school with online courses, trying to figure out what that's about. Meeting teachers virtually. If there's any other students out there who have things they'd like to share about their experiences, please feel free. And non-students out there, students of life, perhaps there's room for us to share what we've been working on, what we find helps to deal with even our routines, because I know it hasn't been easy to do that no matter who you are or where you're at, regardless of what age or stage. And Peter's a recent graduate as well. I forgot about that. Yeah. But it feels very hard out there. Hard is an interesting word, isn't it? That sense, I can't really imagine what it must be like to graduate right now. To have prepared for so long for things to be one way, only to find that they're another. But if I may, I'm not the boss of you. But I'm going to invite you to keep that sense of what? To continue honoring yourself. And this is for everyone out there. This has been an incredibly weird time. And that's weird on top of life, which is also normally very weird. So make space in your heart to honor what you've accomplished. Maybe it is different from what you thought or hoped you'd accomplish. But I think we still need to take time to recognize all the little things. All the small and big strides we've taken to move towards the kind of lives we want to have, the lives we want to be in, the people we want to be. And remember, each one of us, we're still a work in progress. I'm not sure if that ever changes. And maybe that's a good thing. We'll never get bored. And Courtney making a journal binder. Oh, fantastic. Now, is this a binder for all your journals or one binder that is one journal? I'm curious because I know you love journals. And in fact, I started, thanks to Durham College and the videos that I did, I started a bullet journal, everybody. If Sunny's out there and listening, I'm sure she'll be, what? What do you mean? I've asked you forever for a workshop in bullet journaling. But yeah. I thought it would feel like homework until I remembered, well, hey, I'm the boss of me. It doesn't have to feel like homework. It can be whatever I need it to be. So I did. And it's really fun. But I'll get to that maybe in another video. And Peter, just experiencing your first... Oh. Fired... So let me see if I get this right. Hopefully you'd let me know if I don't. So fired from your first job that I thought you could get, but literally start training and then being fired directly. Oh, I feel it's good to share with people here. I guess, although not something to take light. Still, I tried to get rid of... Try to get rid of the hard feeling, I guess. You know, it's an interesting thing the first time, and I think everyone on this stream, one way or another, can relate to what you've been through, even a tiny bit. It's not exactly the same, but I know if I reach into the other part of myself, the other job I do, my acting self, I've been rejected many, many times. So many times. It's actually something that I think performers of all kinds can teach people in the rest of the world. That sense of being able to recognize, okay, what can I do better? What do I want to improve on? I don't know if there was feedback, if that's something you want to take in or not. But more often than not, many of the jobs I haven't gotten over time and many of the jobs I've lost over time have turned into experiences that I'm quite happy. I'm in retrospect, when I look back on them, I'm quite happy that I didn't get those jobs or that I was let go from those jobs. Because if they didn't want me, or if they weren't prepared to work with the person I was or am and the skills that I possess, sometimes that signified it's just not a good working environment. Something in a way that we weren't paired well. We weren't a good fit for one another. It wasn't necessarily that I was really bad, although I have been really bad at certain jobs in the past. But sometimes it's just not a good fit. And knowing, like being able to take a step back when you feel it. I think licking your wounds, taking some time to just feel that difficultness of being let go in that way. I think that's important too, because it sucks. But in time, maybe being able to reflect upon it, what worked well, what you liked, what you enjoyed about that process, what you were looking forward to, and maybe evaluating the things that weren't exactly right for you. And who knows, there might be a silver lining to that cloud. And there are other jobs out there too. I know that's a very strange thing to say in this time, because everything has changed and the kind of jobs we're taking on have changed. But there is a job out there for you, Peter. There is. I think for everyone who wants one. Let's see. An Angel! Oh my goodness, Angel. Oh, Angel, well, you are here. If you're live, you are here. But maybe you can't watch it. Maybe you can just chat. And your phone is, Angel saying, my phone isn't smart enough to access this live stream. Oh, Angel, we miss you. And we're glad, thank you for trying to tune in. We're still trying to figure out ways of making this more accessible, making this kind of platform easily accessible for everyone. And I know that when it comes to virtual stuff, no matter what platform it might be on, not everyone has the ability to tune into a live stream consistently. It can be glitchy for some people. I know sometimes trying it on different platforms like Chrome versus Firefox, blah, 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 different things like that can make a difference. But we're working on it. We're trying to figure things out. It's good to know you're here, even just for a brief visit, Angel. We appreciate that so much. I see folks saying hello to you too. Angel's been busy making art, making music. You can share in some of what he's been making on his Facebook page. All right. And I think too, just revisiting that, the difficulty with like the job hunt and getting fired, and take some time to honor the very fact that you went out and that you're still seeking, you're still searching, and you're still applying, right? And Peter's saying, I guess it's a long story. Hope there's a chance we can talk when you feel free. Oh, yes, I am very busy. But, and maybe I know that Michelle and Nikki are having another coffee chat this Friday morning as well for folks who are interested in doing a Zoom style meetup at 9 a.m. You can join them. It's every other week. And you'll have a chance to check in with people face to face and talk with them. I know some folks in the community have really been missing that. And that's a chance to talk as well. And I know some things here in the chat, not everyone wants to share everything, and that's okay. But I bet if I asked people, everyone who's out there, if those to share the experiences or what you feel comfortable with, times in your life where, like, maybe like where you've lost a job, where you've been fired. I think everyone has some kind of story about that. And if there's any other actors out there who have experience with that rejection, I think this is the time we can share what it's like. How do we protect ourselves from that? How do we create a little heart shield that allows us to be let go, to be put aside, to have someone say, we've decided to go in a different direction, or perhaps not to get back to you at all, or perhaps the dreaded we need to talk, you're not working out here kind of conversations. I've experienced all of them. Nye, I got fired once from David's tea. Oh. Feel like sharing anything? Was it something looking back on that you felt, yeah, that was probably a good thing? Or every time you pass by David's tea, do you feel a longing to be there? I think it's such an interesting thing, looking for work, finding the job. And in acting terms, every actor I know, every artist I know as well, we have different terms for different kinds of jobs, because there are the jobs where your heart is invested, and then there's the jobs where I just need a paycheck, and I'm not going to put my heart 100% into this. But Peter got fired from a big company, which is so weird, or wired from Tim, actually, which is really hard. Wrongfully. Let's see. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry. Yeah, it seems like this is really fresh too, but you're not the only one to have experienced this, although every experience is a little unique because each of one of us is unique. So, I don't know. What do you feel it would be most helpful? What is one question you have that perhaps we can all speak to collectively, I wonder? Sometimes I feel it's the meaning we make out of these moments in time. If we take too much upon ourselves, we can let it become a judgment about who we are, when oftentimes it's really, really not. And if it is a judgment about who we are, then again, that piece of, well, why would I want to be somewhere where they couldn't accept me and work with me as I was? And Courtney got fired from, OnStar, Minax, oh my goodness, my tongue, wrongfully dismissed, but it was made me the person I am today. Interesting. So that's interesting. So I'd like to learn more about that, Courtney. How do you feel like being let go from that job actually helped you move forward and become the you that you are today? Because you're pretty fabulous, as I understand it. And Nye, so revisiting that fired story. So Nye says, I was too anxious to be frontline. I came in and they said, oh, you don't have to come in anymore. So that's a really interesting way of being let go. I've been let go in that way as well. It's kind of a very passive-aggressive way to say, don't come in anymore, to give you the choice. Learning lessons from this and moving on, that's a powerful thing. But what lesson? How much do we choose? What can we choose to take from these experiences? And B coming in through the living room, popping in for a bit to hang out while I'm running errands. So B, welcome. We're having a conversation about, one, let's see if I can weave everything together temporarily, losing jobs, being fired from jobs, the lessons we took from that, what we did to build meaning, construct meaning around that experience in a healthy way, and how to be yourself. Because what I was just sharing, and like a lot overall, I think a large umbrella here. Hey, Daryl. Nice to see you, Daryl. Welcome to the live stream. I think one of the messages we take from this often is that we take it a personal, that it's us, that we're wrong, when really it's oftentimes that the work is wrong for us, or that the people we're working with don't necessarily understand how to access our skills. That's an interesting piece about, I think, with mental health in the workplace. So someone who suffers from anxiety myself, there are many times where it's been too difficult to do what they're expecting, what a business might be expecting me to do quite naturally. And they don't necessarily realize the toll that it takes because they're not considering the whole person when they hire someone. And it's an interesting area. And it depends, again, where we're at and what supports we have around us. Can we take on this opportunity? Is it an opportunity to educate, to raise awareness, to help people understand that discriminating, discriminating against an employee due to mental health is one thing. Making space for them and learning where their strengths are and how you can make use of them as a resource, in spite of what mental health issues we may have. There's always a way. I think employers have a long way to go in learning about that. And there are those of us on the front lines trying to make a change. There. Because everyone has a superpower. Everyone has a strength. Finding a way to access those strengths and lift people up in the workplace is so important. And Courtney, revisiting her experience, it was good as it allowed me to travel to South Carolina as well as going back to school twice to get a job as a PSW. Wowzers. So this seems like when you were fired from your job, there was a sense of, like, you took what you could from it, you recognized what the opportunities that it gave you, and you chose to draw from those, to learn from those, to take the good parts with you, leave the bad behind, and move forward to like use all that, everything you learned from that experience to move into the future. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be. I'm always wrong. But that sounds like that's a powerful position to take. Was it difficult, or did that come as, was that second nature to you? Or did you need a little time to kind of take care of yourself and be gentle with yourself after that experience? And Laura, hello, Laura, nice to see you. Angel. Angel's been fired. So Angel's been fired from, or just left every job you've had. And there's a smiley face there. So I'm hearing a bit of sauciness, a little trickster spirit in Angel's eyes there. And that's interesting too, like knowing where we want to go and where we want to be. We know what we have to do. We need to pay rent. We need to eat. There are certain things that, again, that actor terminology, the Joe job, the Joe jobs, I don't know why they're called Joe jobs. I'm just going to take a moment to reflect on that, to question, why Joe? Why Joe? If anyone knows that, where that comes from, the Joe job as opposed to the Jane job or the they job or the, who knows? Let me know. I've never really thought about that before. Hey, more people, Karen, excellent. So Karen wondering if sometimes our brilliance gets, lovely. If sometimes our brilliance gets misplaced in the wrong kind of work too. Yeah, Karen says, I was really unhappy in placement because I was kept in office. As soon as I started working with people again, I honestly lit up. And my boss let me know. Okay, uncomfortable fit for everyone. Yeah, that right person, wrong place experience, excellent, wonderful skills, but without the person or the people around you to recognize those skills and validate them, acknowledge them, affirm them, build upon those skills, that can be so, so hard. So even something that appears as a dream job or the right job for you may not in the end be the job that you need. But again, we learned from Courtney, taking away, what can we take away from that job? What can we draw from it? Knowing that we are all works in process, all works in progress, and that we can pull the threads that are working to us to weave something a little bit stronger, a little bit better for ourselves down the road. Yeah, it's not always comfortable. But if knowing what we can take with us so that we can change. And sometimes these jobs, the worst jobs that I've had, have definitely helped me in the sense where I begin to recognize what I don't want in life. And B, again, so interesting to see what lessons folks have learned from different workplaces. Nice. And B, welcoming everyone to the live stream. Thank you, B. Oh, interesting. So got fired. So Courtney was saying got fired in February and went to South Carolina in June. So you took time for you. So this sounds like the travel was a little bit of taking care of yourself. That was not a part of the job, but self-care. I like that. Nice. So Angel, I'm an Aries and fire and an entrepreneur. You are indeed. Oh, Nye, excellent, of course. Average Joe. So that's where the Joe job saying comes from, just an average Joe. Yeah. And that's an interesting, none of us, the job might be average, but each one of us, none of us are average. I think we are exactly what we are, but until people take time to learn about us and what skills we can bring to the table and how we can be a resource to them, they won't really know. They won't really know what we can do to lift up the work that they're doing, to be of great, better service and support to the people that they work with, to assist in creation of the things that they create, whatever the job might be. Interesting. Yes, and yeah, B coming up along with Nye. Yep, the average Joe, you got it. And an Angel job stands for just over broke. Yeah, I suppose so if it's a minimum wage job. And Laura lost the third job in May and took that summer to do the farmer's market and start your Etsy shop. Yes, so again, a fabulous way, taking that time to make something for yourself, to create something new for yourself, to, like Angel, to seek out that entrepreneur within yourself. What do you love doing? How can I build upon that? How can I respond to that part of myself that wants something more, that longs for something more. It may not be the only thing that you end up having or doing. I think, again, another great thing that artists tend to teach everyone, I don't know of any one artist who only has one job. And again, that, spinning many plates, wearing many hats, whatever kind of analogy or metaphor you want to use, there are so many different aspects to ourselves, but we learn how to draw from those and be prepared to say yes to the things that bring us joy. And when we can say yes to the things that bring us joy, it makes those other things we have to do so much more tolerable at worst and absolutely joyful at best, because each part of ourselves is satisfied in some way. And Peter, for me, the problem is because this is your first job, and I tried almost everywhere, and no one would call you for an interview or directly telling you, which is why it's so hard for you right now. Definitely not alone in that. And especially during this climate, when everything, so much of what we do is done virtually now, and applying for jobs has become a virtual experience as well. It is hard, isn't it? It's hard not to take things personally. It's hard not to consider, well, why didn't I get a call back? Why didn't they respond? And your first job, that first experience, that can be hard as well. But now you know what it's like. Just that part, that piece. And there's a whole lot of us out here who got fired from our first jobs. So you're one of us now. And you know what? There will be another opportunity. So take care of yourself, be kind to yourself. And when you have a moment to reflect and to examine, what do I want? Perhaps take some time, and again, you're the boss of you. Take some time maybe to map out what you want for yourself. What kind of jobs you want for yourself. What skills do you have? What brings you joy? What things are you good at? What do you do well even though you don't like it so much? Where would you like to see yourself? Maybe there'll be an opportunity for a little kind of positive visualization, little mind mapping, to look to see where you can go, where you want to go, and what pathways are open to you right now. I don't know. Daryl, it has been a while. It has definitely been a while. Thank you for joining the live stream. Are you working on anything today? Is there anything you're creating while you're listening or watching? And for folks who are joining us during the live stream, I like to remind everyone that just because we're making art and creating, and I'm making art, doesn't mean that you have to. I'd love it if you are. You might have other things that you want to do though. So if you're just listening, having us on in the background, that's great. If you'd like to take time to sit down and create, you're more than welcome. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You can gather whatever materials you might have around you to create, to do what you need to do. This is a time to relax, a time to connect if you feel up to it, a time to just listen to that energy, that studio energy that some of us might be missing right now. And that is still obviously quite present, so that's lovely. I'm not missing it anymore. I'm going to set aside my tree, and I'm going to get working on my other piece today. So tree, spiral, I'll come back to you, okay? And funnily enough, I'm doing something very similar to a spiral, just with yarn. Oh, let's see. Oh, here we go. So we have another living room peep, Anthony, also commenting from the living room account. Oh, this is a good job. So Anthony got fired from 2 jobs when I was younger. It sucked at the time, but I learned a whole lot from both the experience of being fired and from the reasons I was fired that made me a much better worker moving forward. And yeah, and one of the times Anthony got fired, that was the reason we met. So I can speak to that as well. Sometimes we don't know what the world has in store for us. Sometimes we don't know what else is out there when we are in one place and only looking in one direction. Those moments of having, being shaken up a little bit, that the rupture that occurs can actually help open up other pathways and help us see other things. An angel saying, yep, we are not average. None of us are. And Brandon, take comfort in the fact that in time, that job will be an afterthought. Yeah, I agree. It's in time when you have that experience again, you'll be able to look back at this and it will seem, it won't hurt as much. It won't hurt as much. So if you can help, you can in the meantime take care of yourself. Do the best that you can. In time it'll ease. And as you've got to run, thank you for joining us. I'm hoping the necklace is working out well. Thank you. An Angel, let's see. Angel saying, I think I got fired because I'm too good at the job and the managers don't want me to take over their job. Hey, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. And Rachel joining. Rachel, are you there? Now again, hello to everyone who's joining. I don't always see who's watching the live stream. I see people when they chat, but if I'm not saying hello to you and you're out there, please know it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's only because I can't see everybody who's joining from where I'm sitting and what I'm watching. Now, what do I want to do here? I've been really enjoying circular weaving lately, so that's what I want to work on. That's why I always get caught up in my warm-up exercise, and it's sometimes difficult to move on to the next activity, so that's why I'm moving on. And B saying, I personally have learned tons about myself as a result of some of the crap jobs I've had in my working days. Retail is not a good fit for me. Though it taught me a lot about people and power structures and helped me build resilience as far as getting out of my shell when it comes to interpersonal skills with strangers. Yeah, if you can access that part of yourself and have the support around you to do so, or perhaps in the moment of necessity you need to, you learn about yourself in different atmospheres and environments and what you can draw upon from the insides. And even though there's a certain kind of practice, when you have practice at doing that, it becomes a little easier. Maybe never entirely comfortable, but you learn to do it when you need to do it. And again, like B was saying, you learn what you don't want, which can be just as important as knowing what you do. And Angel saying hello to folks again. Oh, well, Angel, thank you. I'm glad. It's one of the reasons we host the live streams. It's it's not the same as being in the studio, but it has a different kind of community feeling, doesn't it? And sometimes it's just about hearing a voice. I think for me, it's about seeing the chat and knowing and learning what's on people's minds, what they're making, what they're creating, how they're holding up, and being able to share those things with one another in the community. Oh. Yeah, Peter finding us, and people, it's interesting how people have been finding the live stream, like finding it as in discovering it. We have folks who join us from all over the country and all over the world now. I've met so many amazing people through this live stream that I wouldn't have otherwise have met if I was just working in the studio. So again, opportunities are everywhere. What I thought initially was a big, disappointment, not being able to be in the studio, has in fact become something positive and refreshing for me in an unexpected way, entirely unexpected. If you'd asked me a year ago about what I'd be doing right now and who I'd be doing it with, I never thought I would tell you that I would be doing live streams like this. Never. Well, let's see. And what do we see? B is pretty introverted, which is surprising, folks. So it sounds like we're heading back to that idea about what we learn about in ourselves and through the jobs we have, the jobs we lose, the jobs we try to get and don't get. Yes, and Angel yes, I agree. I miss the piano too. I miss the music from the community. But I think, Peter, there might be an open mic art hive, a virtual one that happens. Peter, if that's still happening, can you post about it in the chat thread? That would be amazing if you could do that. And B, just revisiting that conversation. So B saying, I'm pretty introverted, which is surprising to folks who have met me. In my working days at the former Wasted Space, absolutely. And in the living room, but that took years of practice. Like any skill, I have to practice in order to get good and stay good at it. Absolutely. And as someone who's also a surprise introvert, people don't necessarily know that Yeah, it takes practice. Takes practice. Now, have I given myself an... well, maybe I haven't given myself... This is interesting. I might have to switch this up a little bit. That's what I'll do. I'll just play with this. And yeah, and the coffee chat we do is every other Friday. So tomorrow is the next... Not tomorrow. It's Friday. The next coffee chat with Nikki and Michelle. So if you want to join and say hi to one another, please do. It's like a Zoom style workshop-y kind of thing. It's just a check-in, an informal chat with one another. But a chance for people to see one another, hear one another's voices, maybe show off and share some of the artwork that you've been working on. Yeah, it's a... So the open mic is on hold for now, and that's okay. I think... And then people who know the living room and are familiar with our space and have spent some seasons with us, you can speak to this as well. We go through different transitions in our lives. And as people, we do that, but also businesses and organizations do that as well. And I remember, who was I talking to? It might have been Carlos I was talking to about this, that sometimes for whatever reason, it seems to happen around every 5 or 6 years on a big scale. And then on a smaller scale, just literally with the seasons. So, for example, if we were at the studio right now, it would probably be really quiet. I know that in September, that's one of those months where things get a little more still. Part of that is because families, people are going back to school and adjusting to new schedules, new ways of doing things. Partly because weather shifts and people are preparing for the oncoming cold, maybe closing down cottages or trailers if they're lucky enough to have one, or getting their houses ready for certain things. Every season brings its own change, and this is no different. September is a quiet month. It's an introverted month in a lot of ways, even though there's a lot of activity happening for people who are involved in different practices, different systems. Yeah. Oh, what wonderful. So Peter's also saying that Nikki and Michelle have been very helpful as well. And I'm glad you were able to talk to them as well. Nikki and Michelle are pretty awesome. And, all our placement students and volunteers are awesome. We are so lucky. We are very, very lucky. Every person here contributes in such an extraordinary way. And it's another thing we're working towards, we're trying to get back to, is figuring out, okay, how can we diversify this virtual stuff? So just a little update for everyone. We've been really working on it, trying to figure out ways to make it more accessible, but also trying to get more people involved again, more faces out there on the screen. So it's not just me all the time connecting with you, because I'm sure you want to see some other faces. So we'll keep you posted about that, and how we're working to bring better representation to our live streams and virtual studio work. Because again, right now, I'm lucky that I have the equipment to do so, but we need some other voices and faces up here, right? So we'll work on that. And yes, if we were in the studio, we would also probably be drinking pumpkin lattes. That's just that. It happens. It's that time of year. Yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't like them, you'd probably be drinking them. It's just a thing, right? Let's see. Now, there we go. Working on the weaving. Everything I do. Now, some folks, if you're watching or if you're tuning in, maybe you've never been here before, you might be saying, who is this person? This weird person on the screen? And why are they doing this? Well, my name is Mary, and sometimes I forget to let people know in case you don't know that. And I run a place called the LivingRoom Community Art Studio, which is a part of the Art Hive movement, and it's Oshawa's Art Hive. Now, of course, due to COVID, we've had to close the Art Hive for now, and it's changing, it's growing, it's evolving, and to replace to that experience that we used to have in person at the studio, we're doing as much as we can online now. But even that takes a lot of work, and I'm sure anyone here who's been involved in a virtual hive, you know that it is just as much work as an actual hive, just different kind of work. Oh, Bee's heading to Brew Wizards to pick up some coffee for your older sibling and probably have a pumpkin spice coffee. Oh, showing off on that Brew Wizards coffee. Um, yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it, Bee. Enjoy it. And say hi to those Brew Wizards peeps for me, will you? Um, yes. So at the studio, it had its own set of, weird, interesting things that we had to work to keep on top of. And doing virtual work is just as difficult too. Um, but just as rewarding in the end. And what was I saying? Let's see. Look at me getting distracted. Who am I? Yeah. So we moved as much as we can online, and we're still exploring and seeing what works, what people enjoy. And we are still looking, we're always interested to know what people think, what people want. We have Nye, who's on the stream today, who's proposed a Discord channel for the living room. So I'm putting it out there for those folks who love Discord, who use it, who love it, who adore it as a preferred platform. Reach out, let me know, because we'd love to start exploring and building our community there as well, because every platform attracts its own community. I'm learning that now. See, I'm old, but I'm learning new tricks, folks. It takes me longer, though. It takes me much longer. But that's okay. No one's timing me, I think. Anyone timing me out there? But knowing that different people feel comfortable on different platforms, it helps us recognize how we can connect with more people and how can we affect in ways that are meaningful and effective to them, for them. And we're exploring. Discord is only one. I think TikTok is a whole other thing out there that we might get into. Again, things I never thought I'd say a few months ago, but looking for ways to stay connected, but not only stay connected, but to meet new people and to grow our community, to learn how we can be a resource to one another. There are so many, again, as I said near the beginning, so many amazingly skilled human beings out there. What can we do to learn about and support one another in, creative ways, but also, that creative humaning as well, because we're all just figuring it out as we go along. And some of us have discovered things that work really well for ourselves, and for those of you who might be interested in learning about that, we can share that. We can share that wisdom. We can share that resources. We can transfer that knowledge. And there might be also like just simple practical art things that we can share with one another. So we're going to be exploring more platforms, more representation. I'm here today because I'm lucky enough to have some equipment. I'm lucky enough to be a little more familiar. Oh, my yarn went in my tea. The risks of making art. There are lots of things we can do, and we're still exploring, folks. We're still exploring. But for now, you get my face. And my voice. But hopefully we'll be making some changes there and introducing some new voices. I think that would be lovely. And again, if you are joining midstream, welcome everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the Living Room's pop-up art studio. If you're working on something and you'd like to share it, please do. You can feel free to share a photo of what you're working on, or perhaps even just describe it. Or if it's a written work, you can share a snippet if you feel comfortable. If not, that's okay. You do you. And again, you don't have to make art. You don't have to make art with me. You can do what you need to do to bring you joy, to bring you comfort, to help you feel relaxed, help you feel, artsy, free, spontaneous. Maybe feel grounded, whatever you need. And be saying, I think I might be too old for TikTok, but I'm willing to try. Excellent. Supporting artists is Bee's favorite thing. Supporting artists is one of my favorite things. When I think about, the wonderful qualities of nerddom, like being a nerd and what that means, when I think about what I'm nerdy about, sometimes I think I'm really passionate about people who are passionate about things, specific things, whatever it might be. And I love learning about that. I love exploring what people are passionate about, what they love making, and why they enjoy making it. And once we know, once you have a sense of why people are making things, what they make and why they make it, that's when, at least for me, that was the beginning of the journey for me, realizing that it's not just about the thing that people make. It's not just about the product. every creative gesture is a person sharing themselves in some way. And that, wow, what can we do to honor that in one another, in ourselves? What can we do to ensure that that voice gets heard, that that voice isn't overlooked, or that voice finds the audience? Because there is something extraordinary that happens when people see one another and hear one another for the first time. And then after that, it's every creative expression is another pocket, another piece of them opening up, another window into their world, that helps you understand what it's like to be someone else, that helps you understand, that helps you learn more about the world. And when, like, same as, getting a job and learning about what you like, what you don't like, having those experiences, feeling those feels, every little bit enriching us, helping us grow, helping us learn. Art is a wonderful pathway to that as well. Opening ourselves up, being prepared, being willing, available. I won't use the word vulnerable because that's an interesting word all on its own, but I think, and I can't remember who shared this with me, instead of vulnerable, thinking of it as being available to these opportunities, these experiences. And when we make ourselves available to that, the world changes because we change. That's a beautiful thing. We can make meaning, and we can choose how we engage and who we engage with, choose what we make ourselves available to. So learning about the artist, learning about their experience, their story, it's a way of traveling, isn't it? Traveling internally and externally. And I don't know about you, but I missed traveling this summer. I never really traveled that far, but just knowing that I could travel, having that removed, is a very interesting thing. So how can we keep traveling? Oh, and Laura here. Hello, Laura. Speaking of resources, oh my goodness, I have a tote or two of things I have collected. Should I save it, bring it out, or find another place for it? Also, the mobile studio sounds like a great idea to you. Well, thank you, Laura. Okay, so there's a few things there. So let's talk about that for a moment. The studio is still taking donations, but we might slow those donations down a little bit. Partially because we're not there as often, so we're not using as many supplies. So if you have another art hive near you that could make use of the donations, I might encourage you to take the donations to them, just if you know they're going to be used right away. The next big event we have coming up for the community will probably be our Take It, You Touch It yard sale, and we're figuring out the logistics of how to operate that. So we will, again, like every donation that comes to us will be used in a certain way. And some might go into storage until we can use them more effectively. So if there are things that you have that are perishable, I suppose is one way of describing them. So that might be things that might dry up, like markers, things that have some kind of limited shelf life. Definitely take them somewhere that they can use them right away. There might even be people in the thread here who can make use of them. So perhaps there's a way to share it within the community through Facebook, through arranging safe spaces to drop off and exchange materials. I know we've been putting together a few art kits for people here, there, and everywhere this past summer. So definitely people can make use of those supplies. Tea. Hold on, one more tea. But if they can wait and you want to hold on to them for us, please do. There's a few other folks out there who sent me emails as well. So if you have donations for us, I again, from the bottom of my heart, this is amazing. Thank you. The only reason why the living room is so, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why it's so exciting is because we have so many amazing different kinds of materials there that people can access for free. And of course, now that's a little more difficult, but we are taking them. But if there's another service right now, another art hive that you know of that can make use of them right now, feel free to take them, take your materials, take those donations to those communities. If there's something you'd like to hold on and share with us, that's okay. Just know it might take me a little longer to get back to you to arrange a drop-off date. And I do apologize for those folks who've been messaging and emailing us about donations. I know I'm doing my best to get through the emails and respond to you. Thank you for your patience. And hopefully, let's say even by the end of this week, I'll be able to respond to you and let you know when we can have a drop-off day. And the mobile studio idea, whew. The mobile studio is very exciting. And Angel's saying, let's have a mobile studio in Memorial Park. Yeah, so we're working on this. We've just applied, for a grant or two, and a lot of this will depend on what kind of supports we have in place. It might happen faster than we think. It might take a little longer than we think. But what we're envisioning is kind of in the style of a food truck, something that can place make when it's safe to gather, something that can deliver and share when things are more restricted. But in both cases, it will allow us to connect with people, to go to communities, to sit in a neighborhood or at an event or work with an agency to provide creative experiences for their community members. And we think now it might just be the safest way for the living room to move forward and engage with people, the most manageable way. And another reason why we will still need supplies to do that, but it will probably take some time to get that up and running. We're doing little mini pop-ups here and there when agencies request it, if they have the capacity to work with people safely. So if you are listening and you work with one of those agencies and you'd like us to do a kind of safe, socially distancing pop-up with you, give me a call and let me know. Again, we can't necessarily do anything things are quiet. We're trying to keep things small and manageable enough that we won't unintentionally create a crowd. That's a difficult thing because we love a good crowd, but right now crowds aren't necessarily the safe thing. So we're just trying to use our head and be sensible and connect with people when we can to do what we love. This is one way to do that, and the mobile studio is one way to do that, and we'll keep you posted. But it's still an unusual idea. It's art hives are always on the growing edge, I find. We are always thinking ahead of the game, anticipating what's coming next for community, how we can work with people. Especially in Ontario. For those of you, some of you might be listening or watching from other provinces that are a little more naturally artsy or open to taking these kind of, working in these kind of ways. But in Ontario, we're pretty conservative. And I think just Ontario by nature seems like a conservative place. So explaining a mobile studio to people can seem it's really strange. I have to draw a lot of pictures and just find a way to help them understand what it is and what it's not as well. But definitely mobile studio, we're hoping, we're wishing, we're working towards it. So we'll keep you posted. And if that does happen, when it happens, we'll include you on the journey as well. I think, we'll definitely find a way to share that journey visually, if not in a film, maybe have little live stream moments about it, because that's going to be its own work of art as well, its own living, breathing work of art. Never a dull moment in Art Hive land. Never a dull moment. But I appreciate everyone's support and during this time, and I can't wait. I can't wait to share any news we have about that. And let's see. Yes, and one day, you know what, Peter? One day you can come to Ontario and meet us in person. I'm thinking, in the future there's going to be one wonderful thing about the Art Hives coming alive virtually, is that personally, I've had a chance to connect with people that I never would have connected with before. Not just, community members, but also the people who've created and founded these fabulous art hives all over. And we're learning about one another, seeing what we do. And I'm thinking, I'm envisioning a kind of future where we actually take time to get together. Maybe, art hive jams where we can collectively, conference is too fussy. I think conference is too corporate. But wouldn't it be great to trade art hives, to have art hive takeovers, or to visit other art hives, and for communities to exchange and experience different things? That would be a lovely thing. Dream big, start small. And Danny's saying, oh, wow, let me know if you need any concept sketches. Danny Crosby, you are incredible. Thank you. Be careful what you wish for. You are just, Danny's one of those artists, well, everyone who's connected to the living room. I've never known anyone not to be giving. But again, Danny doing so many amazing stuff, like things for us already, with our Listening to Our Neighbors project. Concept sketches might come in handy when it comes down to it, because I think as far as visually preparing people for what this mobile art studio looks like, I start drawing, and it looks reasonable at first, but then I start getting carried away and having new ideas and adding on to it, and before I know it, I just get carried away sometimes. I just get carried away. What can I say? So thank you. Oh, and Peter also offering help. Wow, okay. You know what? When the time comes, I will reach out to you both. Because there will come a time where we need to get clear about exactly where we want this to start and what we need it to look like. And everyone, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Hopefully sooner than later. Hopefully sooner than later, for sure. Yeah. We get creative. That's one thing that happens when things get strange. We get creative with one another. Something that the Art Hive has taught me, that being an artist has taught me, and anyone out there, feel free to share your own experiences of what this has been like for you as well. That when times get tough, when we feel that edge, that edge of suffering that life can throw at us sometimes, what I love about being in connection with my artist self is that one of the things that can happen if I focus, if I work, if I try to remember that it's there, is that it becomes, along with that kind of ouch, that experience of, that experience of pain, whatever that pain might be, from having something change or something unexpected occur, something unpleasant occur, something restrict our movement, our dreams, our ideas. The artist in me, there's now a response that comes almost on the heels of that feeling of, okay, what now? What can I do? Where's the opportunity in this? How can I change this? How can I transform this? What can I do with what I have? And that's, I think, that's an important skill. And I know everyone has the capacity for that. Everyone has that in them. But it may not be as exercised as an artist's. If an artist is used to creating and transforming things every day, if being an artist and owning and loving your artist self is a part of your daily practice, that muscle might be easier to flex when you need it. So if any other artist can speak to that experience, that from owning your artist self, from being in connection with your artist self, what that has been like for you, how that manifests in you, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to learn about it. Because I think there's a lot of folks out there who could benefit from knowing, from learning, from getting in touch with that part of themselves as well. And, yes, Angel saying, well, the weather is still moderately warm for a pop-up, you mean, for a mobile art studio? Or for something else? I think what we're hoping for with the mobile studio is that it will be more of an all-weather kind of place, a seasonal thing. I know. We're trying to, again, as placemaking has changed. The nature of placemaking has changed. We don't know if it's changed forever, and there are certain elements of it that will never be altered. The sense, the seeing a face, hearing a voice. Those things that help us, that help anchor us. Those are instant cues, aren't they? To being in a certain place at a certain, time, a certain feeling. There's certain things that can take you to those, instantly help ground you, instantly help make you feel at home away from home. So being able to tap into that and recognize, well, what is that thing exactly? What's that mechanism? So we can use it in a lot of different ways. It doesn't always have to mean the physical space. We're learning that right now. So creating that home place, we can continue doing that. We can continue doing that. And how we do it, yeah, it just might, it'll look a little different for a little while. It'll look a little different. But that's not such a bad thing either. Not such a bad thing either. Oh, Laura, a double-decker bus would be just going down that rabbit hole of looking at mobile workspaces. That can, if you ever want to just have a day go by and then look up and it's suddenly like hours have passed, that's one way to do it. Yeah. One day, that's the giant dream, isn't it? The giant dream is creating a place that would pop up, explode, unfold, be almost like a moving castle. And there is a mobile castle house out there. I think it's somewhere in Australia or New Zealand. Someone created a mobile home that I can't even. Maybe I'll see if I can find a link so I can share it with everyone after the live stream is done. But it looks like a castle. They've created something that packs up into what I think was a horse trailer at one point, or they're not so common here because usually we have trailers that we hook up to vehicles, but in other countries they have horse vans or horse lorries that are all in one. So you drive them and the horses in the back and they're all happy or not happy, but they're quite sturdy and quite big. And this one family transformed theirs into a home. So whenever they want to move, they have to pack everything up, sort of fold it in. It crunches in on itself. And then when they arrive wherever they want to arrive to set up, it unfolds into this fabulous living space that you just can't. You can't even. I couldn't. Yeah, right? It's extraordinary. Yes, because my words aren't doing anything there, I will try and share a link if I can. It's fantastic. But again, for the mobile studio, we want to keep it simple. We're dreaming big, but we're starting small. So the double-decker bus, definitely on that dreaming big list. But for now, we're going to do what we can to get on the road to meet people where they're at. Yes, and Angel, this is lovely. My Angel plays and teaches music in Memorial Park every day, and you do art with kids and hand out food to community members. That's a lovely thing. And be safe, Angel. Be safe. Continue to be safe. I'm not the boss of you, but, be safe. And I guess that's what you mean, too. That's something that might be affected by weather as well. I'm sure you'll be out there for as long as you can. And Laura, looking up the castle. Yeah, Howl's Moving Castle on Netflix is on your list as well. Moving all the castles on a list. All the castles on a list. Oh, wow. But yeah, thank you for letting me chat about the mobile studio project. We're dreaming big. We're dreaming big. Start small, dream big. And of course, for a little while, it might be focused in our region, but one day, who knows? It might be something that we can take on the road, take across country. What a dream, huh? Nothing would make me happier than to pull up in a mobile art studio in Montreal or Victoria, BC, Calgary, wherever, to connect with people. That would be a fantastic traveling exhibit, actually. So how's everybody doing out there with their art? How's Courtney doing with your journal binder? I'm thinking I might wrap this up a little bit. Whenever I start a weaving, I'm always convinced I'm going to have it done so quickly. I'm going to give you a little shot of where it's at right now. Let's see. I'm always convinced I'm going to fill it up so quickly that the weaving is going to, take no time. But I forget what actually happens when I begin to weave is that it seems as if time flies by. But it's really just this beautiful experience of being absorbed into the process and not noticing time fly by. It's not that it happens quickly. It's just that it feels very grounded and involved, so I forget about time. I love it. New color. New color. And yes, if if the studio travels anywhere, we'll let people know. And that actually, this virtual studio will probably play a large role in that process, because I think we will be promoting it. We'll be letting people know ahead of time where we're going to be as much as possible. So if we're dropping off workshop kits, down in the south end of Oshawa, for example, we're going to let people know where we are, what time we're going to be there. And if we're going to be, hanging out at, I don't know, near a library for a week or two, people will know we're there. We'll make sure people know we're there. And hopefully you can help spread the word. Everyone who participates in the live streams can let people know, so that we don't miss out. No one misses out. Because I think the studio, I remember whenever we were at the living room, people would also, especially when people found it for the first time, their natural response would be, you've got to let people know you're out here. You've got to advertise, which is always lovely. But I really do believe that people find their art hives when they're ready. And sometimes advertising, while it might help in certain projects or certain events that you have coming up, it doesn't necessarily Hive doesn't necessarily need anything fancy. What we need is, the people who get it, the people who participate and understand it and love it. That energy is contagious, and it's never failed to attract other community members, other creators to the project. Because I think there is something to it, that sense of knowing that you found the space because you needed a space like that in your life. And sometimes you find the space without knowing that it's what you needed. And sometimes you're looking for a space, not realizing that the art hive is what you need. And then when you find it, you think, how did I survive without this before? Or maybe that's just me. Let's see where we're going here. That's where I'm going. Talking to my art again, folks. I chose these colors because I think I needed comfort. Kind of grounded sky, twilight sky comfort. And these are beautiful yarns, donated as well. So beautiful. I thank the people who donated them. And I want to take a moment actually to thank everyone out there. If you donated, perhaps you're like Laura, other community members donating materials and supplies. Maybe you're someone who's supporting us through donating financially through Patreon or Canada Helps. Thank you to everyone out there who's supporting the studio project in that way, especially during this time where in many ways it feels like, there are moments where I feel doubtful and I'm worried that we're not able to provide the same experience that we were before. It means so much that people are still taking the time to support us through whatever way they can, through participating and things like this. That means a whole lot. And it will help us do what we need to do moving forward. But I am also aware that for many people right now, it's difficult. Giving to other things is difficult. Or there might be certain causes that take priority over the living room. That makes sense to me as well. So if you need to change what you give, or perhaps you're not able to give right now, that's okay. I don't want anyone to feel bad. I want you to recognize that being present, even if it's participating in things like this, is just as important. So thank you for all the ways you give, for all the ways all of you give, whether you're giving to us or to other agencies or organizations or community members. Thank you. Definitely interesting times for everyone. Definitely interesting times. I'm hearing the crickets outside. Can you hear them? No? That's okay. I had all this music lined up to play and I haven't even played it yet. Oh my goodness, is it 3:30? Almost. Holy moly. Okay. I'm going to work a little longer. Just because I want to add a little bit more purple to this. I want to see it a little bit more. But I suppose I can begin wrapping things up as well as I'm going. Ah, Jennifer. Hello, hello, hello. I'm doing okay, Jen. How are you doing? We're just saying life is strange for everybody these days. But it's good. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for visiting our Hive. Thank you for visiting the virtual living room today. Are you creating anything special? Or just creating, period? Oh, Laura. Oh, thank you, Laura. Laura says, thanks for continuing on with the living room like this. It means so much to have this connection. That's good to hear. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that feedback. I know there's so much going on for people out there in our own lives, and there are moments where I wonder if perhaps that this isn't necessarily, I have my own doubts just like everybody else. And so it's helpful to know that people are enjoying this connection, that this is worthwhile for folks. Because again, for me, if it was just for me, that would be a whole other thing. And if it wasn't working, I would also like to know, because it would be an opportunity to grow it, to evolve it, to try something new, perhaps. Oh, nice. And Jen has been glazing paintings. Oh, photos? Maybe share a picture or two? And again, for folks who want to share what they've been working on, I know there's some writing going on out there. There's some crocheting going on out there. Crocheting caps. Some scrapbooking, some journal making, potentially some music making. If Angel's here, Angel might be making some music, or perhaps drawing, I'm not sure. If you have things that you're working on that you would like to share, please do. And we're also working on a little pre-show thing we want to post before this begins as well. So if you want to share pictures of what you're working on, we can include them in the pre-show. If you'd like to include links to where people can see more of your work, or perhaps like Laura, maybe you have an Etsy page out there that you'd like to promote, let me know. Send us your artwork along with whatever kind of social media tags that you have that you'd like to attach to it, and we can share it. We can shine a light on what you're doing too, and help people connect with you and support you. All right. And Laura, I've added a pic after the live is over. Maybe it's just maybe it's your own. So are you saying the picture hasn't showed up? It could be. It could be. Sometimes the chat threads in this, there's so much going on that things get a little lost. So we'll see. But you know what I'll do? I'll share a picture of this in a separate post right after I log off the live stream. And if people want to add in pictures or samples of what they've been working on there, feel free. And that might be a clearer way for people to access them too, because they won't get lost in the chat. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. And I'm going to add in a little purple, and then I will wrap up. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Sometimes I have a hard time ending these things. I got to work on that. Let's see. And again, as always, is too, if there's things you want to see, if there's things, activities you'd like me to try, let me know. It's going to be me and the yarn for a little bit. I've done this circular weaving on a hoop, just an embroidery hoop I have lying around. But you can also do this on CDs, old CDs. Oh, no Etsy anymore, just Facebook. Yeah, I think, you know what? People can sell things on Facebook a lot easier sometimes than on Etsy. I think I'd like to explore that as well. So maybe we can have a little artist chat one of these days about selling things on Facebook. I'd love to learn more about that. And I'm sure a lot of other creators and makers out there would love to learn about that too. What do you say, Laura? But yeah, if you haven't checked out Laura's wonderful stuff, wonderful creations, please do. By LB. Check out Laura's Facebook page. I'm hoping that everyone is doing okay. I'm hoping that everyone enjoyed this time as much as I have. Hoping you're feeling a little more relaxed, a little more grounded. Maybe you have a little more energy for what lies ahead in your day or your week. Keep taking care of yourselves. And if it's hard for you to do that, like it is for me sometimes, try making some time. Set aside some time for yourself to create. Maybe it's Wednesdays, hanging out with us. Maybe it's another time during your week that you can just pencil into your schedule. Give that time to yourself. Because life can get busy. Sometimes we forget to do the things that bring us joy, to do the things that help us do the things we love to do. It's something I have to do all the time to remind myself that it's okay to take time for myself. It's okay. So if you need someone to give you permission, again, I'm not the boss of you, but if it helps for some weird art lady on the computer to give you permission, please give yourself some time to take care of yourself. Okay? I see I'm not alone in that. So we will help support one another, remind one another to give ourselves this time, to set aside this time. And yes, Laura, maybe we'll figure out, okay, let's see. I think we can all use some, moving forward, maybe we'll see if we can talk to someone about selling art, makers selling stuff virtually, and how we can do that more effectively. Because I think creating space to celebrate our work, to honor ourselves, to give ourselves opportunities to make a little bit of a living from what we love to do, that's a beautiful thing. And now that marketplaces and one-of-a-kind fairs might be looking a little different, perhaps we can use one another to leverage that and learn how we can come together online to create those marketplaces. We'll see. So thank you for that, Laura. I'm going to look into that. Oh, and Jennifer, how lovely is that? Jennifer says, so relaxing watching this. My window is open and I can smell the fresh air mingled with the scent of the lilac bushes. Oh gosh, that is lovely. That is lovely. I'm going to take a moment to imagine that scent, to imagine that as well. That's lovely. So as you see, not finished, not yet, but I'm getting closer. I'm going to take some time to continue working on this, and hopefully next week I'll be able to show you a completed weaving, right? So I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to take my time with it. I'm going to enjoy the process. And if you're in the middle of working on something as well, don't feel the need to rush it and finish it all up in one go. You've made time for yourself to create, and that is a beautiful thing. You've made time for yourself to listen and to relax a little bit. That is a beautiful thing as well. So if you're in the middle of something and you need to set it down, that's okay. You can come back to it later. Thanks for hanging out and making this with me, folks. A little bit of twilight here. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works out. And I guess this is a good time to wrap it up, even though I could totally sit here and create art with you all day long, folks. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. So in the meantime, please, please, please take care of yourselves. Be nice to yourselves. Let yourself do what you need to do. Everything that needs to happen will happen. And until we can connect and create with one another again in person, I look forward to creating and connecting with you online, here on Facebook. We'll be here every Wednesday doing a live stream art jam hangout. And every Tuesday, unless I have a migraine, we will be hanging out on Instagram as well, talking with another maker or creator in the community, doing really cool things. Not just artistic things, but also that creative humaning piece as well. So please tune in for those if you can, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. And I'll see you again right here next Wednesday, making more art. And let's see. And everyone else, yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll return to these conversations and we'll keep them going. There's so much more to explore. Thank you for being here and having these conversations in the first place. Take care, and I'll see you all again real soon. Bye.